Hi everyone and welcome to Honor and Success Journey. This is episode 137. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Tabitha Carro, a smartphone marketing guru, the founder of Curriculum Design Business. Her passion is exploring how to visually promote business through an iPhone. She created the Smartphone Marketing School, a blog and a membership site to share her iPhone design techniques with fellow business owners. Hello, Tab.
Hello, Patience. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming. We are so excited here to have you, and my client is anxious to hear about your story. So let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my client a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business? Take us right up to the last job or business before you're online.
So, originally, I am a teacher. I went to college and got my degree and master's in elementary education. And my first 6 years teaching, I taught kindergarten, and then I switched year 7 to a different school and began teaching fourth grade Spanish immersion, math, and science. So I would teach my students the subjects, math and science, while speaking and delivering the instruction in the Spanish language. So I really loved it, but it required me to learn how to design and create my own activities and lessons to supplement, because I'm doing something that's not very common in the United States, teaching specific standards, but in the Spanish language and not English. So as I was spending this time creating, I came across a website called Teachers Pay Teachers. That's an open marketplace for teachers all around the world to upload and post their own unique lesson plans and sell them to other teachers as well. So when I came across it, I was like, this sounds like it would be a helpful benefit or bonus to all this extra time I'm investing to make and design these activities. So I started doing that and I fell in love with it. I loved the whole business aspect of it, knowing that I could channel my creativity and get sales, that I could increase my income and revenue, that I had control over that more. Whereas obviously when you're employed, you get what you get. And so I loved that. I loved being able to be creative, to take advantage of that skill that I have and see the benefit that not only would I make more money, but it was, having an impact and influence and help to other teachers. So I just loved it so much, but I was working full time. I was trying to grow my store on the side, and then I tried to throw in marketing. So I was doing this with my husband's professional camera and desktop software. I was making videos, product photos, and it was exhausting and it was really not fun. So I've always had an iPhone. When I upgraded to iPhone 6, I was like, the camera just keeps getting better. Let me switch this in instead of using my husband's camera. And I loved it. And then I realized how nice it was that once I took the photo or the video, I could go sit on the couch, or I could relax, or if I was stuck somewhere waiting in a, line or doctor's office or whatever, I could work on my marketing as well. I didn't always have to be at my laptop. I fell in love with it, and I had my fellow teacher entrepreneur friends seemed interested and curious in how I was doing this on my phone, and so I was like ready to kind of jump onto a new business venture, and with the ultimate hope of taking a break from teaching. So I started Smartphone Marketing School, and it's become an all-consuming passion. And I did end up resigning last June from my teaching position.
Okay, so how long did this passion of yours take you? Did it take you for 1 year, 2 years?
Until I quit my day job, it had been about, I would say, a year and a half. It was a year and a half. So I've been doing it for about 2.5 years. But yeah, and I knew probably once I had my first enrollment where I had offered membership, and I began monetizing it. Once that went well, a couple months later, I was already in the works and making plans to quit. But as a teacher, it's not the same as a typical job. Like, I'm not going to up and leave in October or, January when I have my students to take care of. So I finished the year out. So that's why it ended up being a year and a half.
Wow. Ooh. What a background, Tabitha. I said, okay. Why do you do what you do?
Because I love that it's a creative outlet for me. It's something that is so much fun, and yet I know is helping other fellow business owners while at the same time giving me the freedom to every day choose what I want to do, choose when I wake up, and all of those wonderful perks of being self-employed.
Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
I think both things that you said are true. I think if anybody really wants it, you can totally do it, especially with now that we have the internet. It's just no matter who you are, you can totally do it. But there are people who are just quicker and better. I think for somebody like me, I'm not an extrovert. I'm very uncomfortable with trying to sell anything. Like we'll have things around the house. Like we had a ping pong table. My husband was like, we should sell that. And I just like gave it away because I don't want to have to deal with the awkwardness of selling. Like I hate it. But thankfully, because of the internet, you can capitalize on what are your strengths, and you can make up for the things that maybe you don't feel as strong in and still be successful and still learn how to produce your own revenue, even if that's not your background. As in my case, I was clueless when I began.
What reassurance or encouragement do you have for my members of the clan who are not quite there yet?
To stay inspired, to be encouraged, and to try to break down, get a plan, but really get as much detailed as possible as you can. Some recommendations are to really be aware of your finances, what money's coming in, what you're spending, and also to make an estimate and to understand how much money you'll need to bring in once you decide to quit your job and go full time. Also encourage people to really learn more about minimalism, simplicity, to not fall into, the trap of spending, because so many people, I feel like, don't feel like, and they will never leave the supposed security of their day job, but they're also not in charge of their finances, and they're making consumer choices that are weighing them down and aren't even making them happy. So I think when you can discover maybe what in your life can change, can reduce your cost of living, and then also obviously keep plugging away and learning all you can with whatever business you're working on, and just don't be discouraged, and don't feel like this is how it's always going to be, because I was utterly exhausted for years working all day long at my job and then going home and working all evening long. And just know that you're investing up front, but you're going to reap the benefits of all that time you're putting in now. There will be that day when you're like, can choose to just spend a whole day, a whole weekend doing absolutely nothing, and you're okay because you put that time in. So just remember that there's going to be a future day where this all is going to be worth it and make sense to you. But you got to be smart, and you have to take the time to really analyze and plan it all out.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
I don't think my husband's, he'd probably be like, I've given so many things away that I probably should have sold. That's a really interesting question. And I have such a bad memory, but I just gave away a ring light to a fellow friend and member of my membership that I just was not using, and it's called a Halo Diva ring light, and it's really awesome for videography, for doing talking head videos, and it costs a couple $100, and I gave that away because I had not used it for over a year, and that bothers me when things are just sitting around that are awesome, and I know that somebody could be using it. Yeah.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success so far?
I would definitely say my husband, and I think definitely we all need at least that one person in our life that supports us and encourages us. And my husband is that, but I got really lucky because he actually is a graphic designer. He loves tech. He loves photography. So I have learned so much from him that I was able to translate over into the content I provide for business owners using their iPhones. And I mean, I am constantly going to him for just to critique what I'm doing, to give suggestions. And honestly, like I'm part of a big group of women teacher entrepreneurs, and I'll mention my husband all the time, and they'll talk about how jealous they are because I just happen to have married somebody that really is so helpful for any, a business owner trying to market their business. He's super awesome. So he's definitely been a huge, huge key to my success.
Are you going to share him with the rest of us? Because we also want him. We also want someone like that. We can't just go around having the ones which don't help.
I know, and
So how lucky you are? How did you just pick him out of 1,000 people on the planet?
I totally did because we met on the internet. He's from Argentina, actually, and he's actually a big reason I became fluent in Spanish. I had my background in college, but just chatting online, and we fell in love and all that good stuff, and went through the immigration process, and then he came over here. I mean, at the time I was just a teacher, that was it. So I didn't know that his background as a graphic designer and his really artistic eye was gonna come in so handy. I got lucky.
Do you think his techniques and skills have rubbed off you?
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, I see his work. So I learn by being inspired by, what he does, but all the time. I mean, I'll show him something and he'll be like, okay, there's too much shadowing right here, or there's not enough space between. And so I'll make those adjustments all the time. And he doesn't always say the things maybe in the sweetest way. And sometimes I'll be like, because I'm actually really proud or happy with a design or something. But then when I'll take his critiques into consideration and edit, it's amazing how much better it gets. So yeah, definitely.
Do you have a mentor in your business or a coach?
I do not. I think one reason is because of my husband, because he's filled such a big need. He's somebody that can go to and strategize. And so it's not something I have implemented yet. It's definitely something I've considered and just possibly in the future might consider having.
What is the most valuable thing your mentor, which is your husband, has told you?
There's so many things, but I'm trying to think of what has been most meaningful. I honestly think this is going to sound really superficial, but I think as females, especially, we can all relate to this. He's always encouraged me. Like, I'll get down and things like that, and things are not always going well. I do these quarterly launches for my membership, and oftentimes the launches will start off slow, and he has always been he always brings me back to reality, because I'm a worst case what if scenario type girl. So I'd be like, oh my goodness, what if this is, not, people are no longer interested in my service, all this stuff. I go all the way, I spiral at times, and he always reminds me that, hey, you've been here before and this is just how it goes. And he keeps me, locked into reality. And another thing that I was starting off to say and didn't finish with this is that, he'll tell me that I am beautiful and pretty all the time. And I think as women, we can just never hear that enough. And I realize how lucky I am to have somebody that says that to me, because I think we need to hear that. We need to feel pretty, that somebody feels that way about us.
Okay, tell him to send us all the love, all the ladies out there that we feel pretty. We need to feel pretty too.
Absolutely. And any males out there, or, it doesn't matter, whoever your significant other is, like, if you know that they're kind of needy and that way, please don't hold back. Please, you can never compliment them enough.
Okay. You are a career educator. How did you get started with a business and a smartphone marketing school? Was that your idea or your husband's idea?
It was actually my idea because he's all professional. He was the one saying, you've got to use a professional camera. You've got to have this setup and it's got to be this way. And so it was more me. I was shortcutting the process, by sneaking in my phone. But the more that I was doing that and actually loving it, it became really strange, because what I was used to hate before, like, oh no, it's time to do another video, or oh no, I've got to create a cover design for my latest product. It started to become what I loved. And so I knew that this had to be something that a lot of busy entrepreneurs could relate to, and everything. So when I mentioned the idea to my husband, and he was pretty gung-ho. He wasn't 100% sure that it was something that could be monetized successfully enough, but he was definitely all for it, especially it's tech related and he loves all that good stuff. And honestly, I was very fortunate, because when I jumped onto the scene, I mean, as we all know, smartphone quality has just increased tremendously, and the apps have profoundly increased in the of what you can do on these apps now, that even when I started out with smartphone marketing school, you cannot do the things that you can do now.
What types of business owner will benefit from using the content or the apps?
Usually it's people that have their own business. They're anybody product based would really get a lot out of it, because what I share and teach is about photography, design, and video. But myself personally, I'm no longer creating and really promoting products. I'm promoting smartphone marketing school. So I'm a digital marketer. So I'm doing everything from my phone, but promoting something digital. So also anybody who's a social media marketing manager for companies, I think the ability, once you can learn, obviously there's a time and place for being on your laptop to do these things, but when you also learn how to do them on your phone, it truly increases your independence and your freedom and your productivity, because you can get things done and not always have to be upright, sitting at your desk, hunched over on your laptop. So anybody who has a need to produce photos, designs, or videos for marketing a business online would benefit, which is kind of broad, but it's specifically iPhone. We do have some alternative suggestions for Android, but it's for the busy entrepreneur with an iPhone.
Are you being a bias?
I am not, but I know my limits, and I absolutely know that Android cameras are amazing and fabulous as well, but I just have zero experience. But I do have Android users who are in my membership, and they've done a really good job, and they're helping me even right now to let me know what works, what doesn't, and what app alternatives are out there. And absolutely not. It's just, you stick with one thing and stay with it.
How has using your iPhone to create visual content increased your marketing productivity?
Oh, I mean, now in 2018, everything is so visual, and it's just been amazing that I'm saving so much time. First of all, I created my whole course site content, the videos, the designs, the course card designs, the course site designs. I created all of that with my phone, and I can't tell you the time I saved if you compared it to my process before, where I had to have the camera, professional camera, had to, plug in the card into my laptop, had to not only go through using the software, but I had to learn, go through that process of learning these high learning curve type software programs. And so, yeah, and I think now I don't know how much time I'm saving, how much more time I'm saving, because it seems like that extra time I'm just pumping out more visual content, because it can become addictive and it's super fun. And it's kind of a digital art form. I don't want to say art, but it is kind of like a digital art form that is just super fun to play with, to practice with. And yeah, sometimes I have to put limits on myself.
Give us some tips how to take really good quality pictures and videos with our iPhone.
Well, with any smartphone in general, basic number one rule is to wipe your camera lens before you take a photo or video, because we're carrying our phones with us all the time in our hands, in our purses, in our pockets. So they get smudged, and it reduces the quality tremendously, just that one issue. So I just use my shirt or whatever I have close by, and I just always make sure that I wipe it. And then I know for the iPhone, when you go to take a photo or a video, you can press on the screen wherever the focal object is, and you can lock the exposure and focus onto that focal object, whatever you want to stand out. And so that will really help with the lighting, with the clarity, and it'll give a little bit of a blur to the background. And those who have the iPhone 7 Plus, 8 Plus, or the X, the 10, you also have portrait mode, which will do that nice blur background effect. And I know that Android has as well. So definitely learn your device. If it has cool camera features like portrait mode, make sure you learn those, because they come in so handy as well. And then as far as video is concerned, you really need to make sure stability is on point, and it all depends on what your objective of your video is, whether you're videoing something else, a product, or yourself. But you want to definitely invest in some type of camera stand. It can be anything, a stand for any type of camera, but if you go to Amazon, you can search for a smartphone adapter, a tripod adapter, and that will allow you to stick your phone securely onto any camera stand. So I have a couple of these around that I always make sure I have on hand, that I'll attach to a tabletop tripod. That's what I use right now. If I'm going to do a talking head video, if I'm going to do a mobile live at Instagram or Facebook, you just want to make sure that, especially if you're trying to be more professional and not just everyday type video, make sure your stability is on point. And obviously lighting is a whole other ball game too, but natural lighting is great. So just get accustomed to what time of day in your house. If you have a good window, learn when, what time of day is really producing the best natural lighting through that window, and just put your setup there, whether it's you or a product. And you really don't have to invest in extra lighting if you can find an area wherever you're at that produces natural lighting.
Cute. Okay, what is one thing that no one knows about you?
There's a reason nobody knows those things.
I know. It can be business or personal, don't worry.
A business or personal.
Yes.
So something that, oh my goodness, this is a really, really hard question. I mean, my husband knows this, but most people, I try not to let it out too much. I'm still, ever since I was, 3 or 4 years old, my favorite food that I could just eat every day, all day long, and it's so not healthy, but I just love it, is macaroni and cheese. preferably like the Kraft spiral noodles that come in a box with powdered cheese, and it's so fake. But it is just like people say that your taste buds change every 7 years, and with this one area, mine have not. And sometimes, I'm 36 years old, and I'm in the kitchen fixing a plate of macaroni and cheese, and I'm just really embarrassed that I'm still doing this. But it's just one of those things that I love. But were you gonna share something? Not letting you off the hook, no.
Yeah, you just let me off now. Oh, that's really good. But again, I think that one also reminds you your childhood. So, yeah,
Yeah.
what's the problem with that?
I mean, totally, totally. It's just like you see like all these other people sharing like these really complex recipes that they just made, and I'm like, man, they know how to adult. They're adulting right there. And then I'm just like, and then there's me with my, and I'm like, I'm not gonna like put this on Instagram. Like it's
Don't
so
do
I just
it until we air. Surprise people.
I
So that's
won't.
why I
Yes,
like this
yes.
one. It's a surprise. No one knows.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's definitely something I keep quiet. But if you go to my pantry, I always have at least 8 to 10 boxes because I don't want to ever be unprepared.
Oh, that's really nice. It's a nice memory from your childhood. That's good. Okay, let's now be a grown up now and talk professional. Tell us more about your mobile stories studio.
So, Mobile Story Studio is a newer monthly subscription platform that I have developed with a fellow friend of mine. That we provide daily tips and also a platform with video tutorials, and then we do weekly challenges to help any entrepreneurs who are wanting to leverage stories for their business. So Instagram stories or Facebook stories, you learn all the ins and outs, and also strategies, techniques, hacks, specific third-party apps that are very useful to help you produce engaging stories for your audience. And this is something I'm really obsessed with right now, because as we all know, there's so many algorithms set in place at Facebook and Instagram that are limiting our reach to our audience incredibly. And for now, knock on wood, stories are still based on organic reach, and you're not being limited. So it really opens up a whole world. And if you have a business where you need to connect with your audience and begin to initiate relationships and connections and friendships, stories is the best way because your audience can direct message you. So we teach about, encouraging questions and things that will get your audience talking to you in private message format. And I mean, I have like some really good friends that I have made just because of stories, whether I was watching theirs or they were watching mine. And then it has also resulted in people becoming members of Smartphone Marketing School and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's what Mobile Story Studio is, and it's a monthly subscription. And it's just a lot of fun. And if this is something you want to learn more about, what you learn there, you can also apply to other designs that you need for social media to market your business as well.
Okay, so where do we find this fabulous membership?
If you go to, I actually don't have a very user-friendly link, but if you go to Smartphone Marketing School, the Facebook page, and you look at my tabs, on the left side, there's one called Mobile Story Studio, and that will direct you to the landing page to subscribe.
And if we want to get in connect with you directly, how do we find you?
Once again, my Facebook page, Smartphone Marketing School, you can send me a private message anytime. Instagram as well. I have a lot of tutorials on both platforms where you can learn some new fun tips and techniques for using your phone for your business, and you can feel free to message me there. And then if you go to courses.tabithacarro.com, I have a couple of free course offerings there, and one's called the Couch Hustler course that's been a lot of people have taken it and really enjoyed it. It kind of gives you the basics of what you need to start using your phone for creating visual content, and a design tutorial, a quick little video tutorial. So you can take that in 20-25 minutes and come away already able to produce some designs and videos with your phone.
So, clan, there will be more from Tabitha in a moment. If you are listening on one of the many podcast platforms rather than my website and you are encouraged by Tabitha's journey, go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for a bonus portion of the interview. The Online Success Journey is a wonderful membership community built for people searching for the path to success. We are one big clan and you can be part of this community for free. Once you have joined the clan, click on part 2 of Tabitha's journey or over 100 other journeys that are available and learn how you can find the right path for your own online success journey. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Tabitha.